not allow. You would dare challenge me in affairs of business." "You forget, dear husband," answered Atlanta, her tones cooling with her effort at self-control, "that this land is mine, not yours. Everything that goes on is my affair. You can do nothing without my approval." "And you'd never allow me to forget it, do you, Atlanta?" She said nothing. Young Maggie crouched low behind the back of the sofa, stiff with terror lest she be discovered as a common eavesdropper. She had never intended to fall asleep. Yet once her parents entered and began their heated discussion, she desperately wished she could escape undetected. Now she remained motionless. Her parents argued often. Maggie was well aware of the tense distance between them, even when their words were civil. This particular dispute seemed more dreadful than usual, the conflict perhaps heightened by the knowledge that she was a secretive listener to their private words. The grim iciness of her father's tone, as he resumed the conversation, sent a chill through Maggie's body. "We shall see," he said. "My solicitor is drawing up papers regarding Greenock. It's all legal, I assure you. My name is on the documents of this estate as well as yours." Atlanta stared at her husband for a moment, her vacant gaze scarcely revealing a hint of the enmity churning within. Whatever love that may have existed between the two of them was far from visible at this moment. Both were strong and determined, and during the past several years their clashes over the future of the estate had grown more frequent as James' ambitions had widened. "I warn you, James," she said at length, in deliberate and measured tones. "Do not misjudge me. I still have more control than you may think." "We shall see." "James, don't push me too far. I will not be moved. You shall not sell Greenock." "If you think to intimidate me, Atlanta, save your strength. I will do what I am compelled to do, for the good of the estate." "Dispossessing our tenants is for no one's good," Atlanta replied. "And what of our children? If we followed your suggestion, they would end up with nothing. The land would all be gone." "They will applaud the wealth and prestige I will bring them." "Not Margaret. Your money will mean nothing to her. She would applaud nothing that would destroy—" "I can handle Margaret, and don't try to interfere with me. She's my daughter as well." "And one with a mind of her own?" "A mind of her own, precisely," he shot back, "unless you try to fill her head with lies about me. But I am her father, and she loves me. She will do what I say." Atlanta didn't reply. Maggie, shielded behind the sofa and several towering bookcases, heard her father's footsteps retreat from the room, followed by the final slam of the door. She felt, rather than saw, her mother's tall, proud form standing motionless, staring after her husband, observed only by 1,000 dusty, leather-bound witnesses of ages past. Maggie remained still, and after another few moments heard the click of the door as it opened and closed. She hadn't even heard her mother's soft, retreating footsteps. Finally, young Margaret stirred, rising slowly to peer over the edge of the sofa, still not sure she was truly alone. Trembling, she slid from the sofa and stood. A tear trickled down her cheek, and she bit her lower lip to still the quivering. What could it all mean? How could her father speak so harshly to her mother? Maggie had always thought of him as such a loving and unselfish man. He loved her, didn't he, as only a daughter can feel loved by a father she adores and looks up to with pride and an almost reverent regard? Was this the same man whose voice she had just heard? There had been arguments before, but none quite like this. And what had he meant when he'd said he could handle her? Confusion surged through her. Her face was hot. Her tears were rising again. She had to get out of the house, to ride, to forget. Maybe all would be different when she returned. Maggie crept slowly toward the stair, began her descent quietly. Then halfway down she gave way to the pounding in her chest and broke into a run all the way to the stables. Chapter 2. Cinder. From the house, Maggie led her